Today is very auspicious day, Disappearance Day of two Vaishnavas. According to Indian calendar, they are coming together on today's day. Saranga Thakur, our Gurudev, wrote their biographies. Sri Saranga Thakur, Kabi Karnapur, the youngest son of Sri Shivananda Sen, writes in his Gaur Ganodesh Dipika, Broje Nandimukhi Asit Sadhya Saranga Thakura, Pralado Manyate Kaishchin Mat Pitra Sa Na Manyate. Gaur Ganodesh Dipika is one scripture where it is written who was who in Krishna Lila and now in Gaur Lila. So here it is stated, Brajas Nandimukhi became Saranga Thakur in Gaur Lila. Some people say that he is Prahlad, but that is not the opinion held by my father. Father means Shivananda Sen. You know, he is a personal associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He used to take care of devotees from Mayapur when they went to Puri. He provided everything on the way. So his youngest son is Kavi Karnapur. He wrote this book. So Shivananda Sen did not agree that Saranga Thakur is Prahlad. He is Nandimukhi. Sri Saranga Thakur is mentioned in the listing of branches of the Chaitanya trunk of the tree of devotional service along with Ramdas, Kavidatta, Gopal Das and Bhagavat Acharya in Chaitanya Charitamrita. He is also known as Saranga Thakur, Saranga Dhara and Saranga Pani. Pani means hand, one who holds that horn. He used to live in Modadrundvip, which is the island in Navadip that represents of the 9 types of devotional service, the service attitude, means dasya, dasyam. The name of the town is Mamgachi. He would sit in a secluded place by the banks of the Ganges to perform intense bhajan. Through these practices, he obtained many miraculous powers. At first, Saranga Thakur did not want to make any disciples for fear of disturbances to his bhajan, but Mahaprabhu repeatedly encouraged him to do so. Those who are pure devotees, they are always engaged in the service of Krishna and they are getting transcendental bliss. They have no any desire for anything else except the service of Krishna. Only when they get order like this, then they accept this as a service to Krishna, to make disciples. Nowadays, there is this competition for gathering more and more disciples, but if it is done for some worldly purpose, then that is not actually service. Only when one is ordered to do this seva, to help those fortunate jivas, means those who have sukriti, to help them, to show them how they can worship Krishna, that is one kind of service to Krishna. Krishna will be satisfied. Then that is bona fide. But if there is some ulterior motive, then that is dangerous also. The following account is given in the Gauriya Vaishnava Abhidhan when the Lord was returning after criticizing Devananda Pandit for having offended Srivas Pandit. Saranga Thakur met him on the streets of Navadip. Mahaprabhu ordered him to give up his determination to never take disciples. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada writes in his Anubhasa in Chaitanya Charitamrita, having been ordered by Mahaprabhu to take disciples, Saranga Thakur decided that he would make a disciple of the first person that he met the following morning. As fate would have it, the next morning a dead body washed up against him while he was taking bath in the Ganges. He revived the corpse and made him his disciple. Such is the power of Mahaprabhu, his God himself, and also his personal associates. Narad Goswami also did, and others. So it is not that only Jesus raised from the dead. He can do, but Mahaprabhu also showed sometimes that Srivas Thakur's son and Narad did there. He also did, because he was ordered to make disciples, so it happened like this. This disciple was known as Thakur Murari, or sometimes as Saranga Murari. The point is that all jivas, they belong to Krishna. When they become averse to Krishna and want to enjoy Maya, they get this false ego and everything. And then they also have to get all sorts of suffering in this material existence. So Krishna does not like to see this jiva suffering, so he himself appears in this world, or he sends his own personal associates to inspire these jivas to turn towards him and serve him. Then they will be free from all miseries and they can get fulfillment of life. So those who are ordered for this seva, they will get that power from Krishna to help these jivas, how they can worship. And they are doing exclusively for the satisfaction of Krishna. In the end, also they are showing the path of devotion only to those who have sukriti, who have gathered enough sukriti that already Shraddha appeared in their heart. Firm faith in Krishna, he is Supreme Lord, and by serving him, all are served. To such a person, if one gives initiation and guidance, then that will be service to Krishna. But you know, there is one aparat, Nama Parat, ninth one, to instruct in Harinam those who have no faith. So if some so-called guru tries to gather more and more disciples without considering whether really they have faith and whether really they are agreeing to follow all the rules and regulations of Shastra given by Krishna for his service, then he will also have to suffer for that. That is Nama Parat. It is not for Krishna service. Krishna already told what is satisfying him. And there are 64 kinds of devotions. So one, before getting initiation, this basis should be there. One has to have firm faith and also agree that he will perform these devotional services and also follow all restrictions in regard to diet. We cannot take something which cannot be offered to Krishna because you can take only prasad. And you have to follow Ekadashi fasting and other days, Janmashtami. There are certain fastings and some rules and regulations that aspirant disciple should be aware and also agree to follow with faith if he has. But you will find some so-called gurus, they will not explain these rules and regulations of Shastra, out of fear that then they will not be interested to become disciple and I will not get money and name and fame, and not thinking they have faith or no, just you become disciple like this. So that is not for the service of Krishna. In the Gauriya Vaishnava Abhidhan, it is further said that Murari was a boy who had been killed by a snake bite, and his parents had set his uncremated body afloat on a raft in the Ganges, as was the custom in that time. Saranga Thakur revived him by giving initiation to him. Thus his name became Saranga Murari. He became an empowered preacher of Mahaprabhu's Dharma by Guru's grace. Descendants of Saranga Murari's disciples still live in a village named Shav. So he also became Guru. If one surrenders to Guru completely and gets that love of Godhead, and he also gets that power from Krishna and Guru, then he can also do this seva of bringing other souls to the service of Krishna. Saranga Thakur's deities were served in the town of Mamgachi. The original temple was built in front of a bakula tree. The deities of Radha Gopinath worshipped by him can be seen in this temple, as can the deity of Mahaprabhu's associate Vasudev Datta Thakur, Sri Madan Gopal. The devotees who do parikrama of Navadip Dham visit this temple for darshan. We go. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur established a temple not far from the above mentioned home of Saranga Thakur at the birthplace of Vrindavan Das Thakur. That is little further, you just literally walk. That Gauriya Mat is there, Vrindavan Das Thakur appearance place. Saranga Thakur disappeared on the 13th day of the waning moon, Krishna Trayodashi, in the month of Agrahayan. An alternative opinion is that he disappeared on the Ashar Krishna Chaturdashi. So I am remembering that temple. We went there with parikrama and also alone one time I went. Saranga Thakur, I am remembering his temple there and bowing down to him and praying for his causeless mercy. Also today Shri Kaliya Krishna Das Disappearance. Also Kala Shri Krishna Dasa Sayo Lavanga Saka Braje. In Gaur Ganodesh Deepika, that book, in Braja, Kala Krishna Das was Krishna's cowherd friend named Lavanga. Kaliya Krishna Das was known throughout the three worlds. One can attain Gaura Chandra through remembrance of him. From Chaitanya Bhagavat. The Shripad of Kaliya Krishna Das is in the town of Akaihat, within the jurisdiction of Katwa, just off the road that leads to Navadip. It is about 2 miles south of the Katwa train station and 1 mile north of Dain Hat station. Near the Shripad is a pond called Nupural Kund. It is said that the ankle bell of Raghunandan Thakur, the son of Kandabasi Mukunda, fell here. Others say that it was Nityananda Prabhu's ankle bell. Even today, one can get to see the Shripad's homestead, including bricks and the bank of the pond. That is Nupur. Nupur is ankle bell in Bengali. In his Anubhasya, commentary to the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur has written, in the opinion of the Goswamis of the Sonatala village on the north bank of the Ichamati river, about 3 miles west of Bera Bandar, in the Pabna district, Kala Krishna Das was a Brahmana of the Varendra group of the Bharadwaj Gotra in the village Bhadra. Kala Krishna Das went to Pabna from Akai Khat to preach the chanting of the holy names. There are still the ruins of the buildings where he built his ashram. Later, members of his family came to live there. Since there were no other Brahmanas of the Varendra group in Akai Khat, he came there to marry. Afterwards, he returned to Akai Khat and also went to Vrindavan. He had two sons named Sri Mohan Das and Sri Gauranga Das or Vrindavan Das. Their descendants still live in the Sonatala village. There they celebrate Kala Krishna Das's disappearance day on the 12th day of the waning moon in the month of Agrahayan. So that was yesterday, Dvadashi. But in India today, this Dvadashi and Trayodashi, they are coming on the same day. So we are observing on two tithis, same solar day. The deity which he worshipped was named Kala Chand. That is black moon. That is Krishna. Although he is dark, blackish, but he is shining like moon. Kala Chand. Kala Krishna Das took birth in Raradesh. He was a great servant of Lord Nityananda and was the best of the Vaishnavas. He knew nothing other than Nityananda Prabhu's lotus feet. This is from Chaitanya Charitamrita. When Jannava Devi came to Katwa, Kala Krishna Das was in her entourage. They all arrived in Kanta Kanagar, means Katwa, in the company of many devotees, including Kala Krishna Das from Akai Khat. This is from Bhakti-Ratnakar. The Kala Krishna Das who accompanied Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to southern India was not the same personality. Chaitanya Charitamrita. So Sri Kaliya Krishna Das disappeared today. I am bowing down to him and praying for his causeless mercy. Before we were singing this song, Je anilo premadhon koruna prachur. One who brought this wealth of prema, having full mercy. Actually, prachur means plenty of. Koruna prachur means plenty of mercy. Out of that mercy, they bring this wealth of prema to this world, and then they also disappear. So when they disappear, then devotees, they will feel separation grief. Heno Prabhu Kotha Gela Acharya Thakur. Oh, where did he now go? So that is why we are singing that song. And we are hearing introduction to SRIMAD BHAGAVATAM. We heard that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed Sanatana Goswami in Varanasi. Sanatana Goswami fully submitted and asked who I am. If I don't know this, then how there can be good for me? Also, you please tell me what is the ultimate goal of life and what is the process to attain. Please tell me Then Mahaprabhu told all about Sambandha, Abhideya and Prayojana to Sanatana Goswami, because if you think I am this body, then bodily interest is my interest. What is good for the body is good, what is bad, that is if I think. If I think I am subtle body, mind, intellect, that ego, then I will think development of that, intellectual development and this. That is my necessity. And if you think you are spirit, not matter, then you will think liberation is my necessity. I should be liberated from all attachments to matter that is restricting my natural happiness and freedom. But if you understand, you realize that you are actually servant, eternal servant of Krishna, then it will be in your interest to serve Krishna. That is why Sanatana Goswami said, you please tell me who I am. If I don't know who I am, then how I can know what is good for me? Kemone hito hoy. You cannot know. Everything depends on the determination of the self. If self is wrongly determined, then the necessity and the process to attain that will all be wrong. You will not get the desired end. So Mahaprabhu first told him about Sambandha, who we are in relation to Krishna in this world, and what is our interest, what is our necessity, prayojana, Krishna Prem, and how to attain it, by Abhideya, by Bhakti. At Mathura, the Lord visited all the important places. Then he reached Vrindavan. Lord Chaitanya appeared in the family of a high caste Brahmana, and over and above that, as a sannyasi, he was the preceptor for all the varnas and ashramas. But he used to accept meals from all classes of Vaishnavas. At Mathura, the Sanoria Brahmanas are considered to be in the lower status of society, but the Lord accepted meals in the family of such a Brahmana also because his host happened to be a disciple of the Madhavendra Puri family. One who is a Vaishnava means from heart, from Atma, he is serving Krishna, so everything is purified. There is no impurity in him because he is properly engaged. He is automatically a Brahmana. One sincere Vaishnava who is really serving and he purified himself, he is automatically a Brahmana with all those qualities. That is why Jiva Goswami said that yes, he becomes a Brahmana, but because we don't see any such custom that some Acharya made this officially by giving such status, so if they want to do these Brahminical duties in society, then they will have to wait for next life, unless they, of course, they will be liberated, that they can do these things. But if in future there will be any powerful Acharya and he will introduce this in society, then that is bona fide according to Shastra. So when such necessity arose in India, because Smarta Brahmins, they were criticizing or minimizing the Vaishnavas because they wanted to have monopoly on study of the Vedas and all these things. So they committed offenses to Vaishnavas. So then there was some big meeting there. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was invited, but he was at that time already bedridden. So he sent Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. That time still Bimala Prasad, not sannyasi. So first Prabhupada spoke about the glories of Brahmins from Shastra. So much so that even they, those who were Brahmanas, Smarta Brahmins, they were astonished. They did not know so much glories about themselves from Shastra. Then he spoke the glories of Vaishnavas from Shastra. Then they were silenced. And in order to show to all society that Vaishnava is also as good as Brahmana or is a natural Brahmana, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur gave that type of initiation also to Vaishnavas. Then this system started. Already it was predicted by Jiva Goswami 400 years before, or 300 years means before. If in future some will come, that will be bona fide. So it happened because of this. And also Vaishnavas, they should not have inferiority complex. They should also know that they are to behave purely as Brahmanas. So that was the necessity. So Prabhupada started, introduced this system. So here Mahaprabhu already showed, although he was not a Brahmin, a high caste Brahmin, but because he was a disciple of Madhavendra Puri and was engaged in the service of Krishna, Mahaprabhu, without any hesitation, he accepted meals from there. Our Gurudev also told those who are initiated, they are not to take food from anyone who is not properly initiated, Vaishnava. Then he said, you can also take from Brahmin, but pure Brahmin, those who are following Sadachar, properly rules and regulations. Not that he is Brahmin by birth and he's smoking and eating chicken and fish and all this. Not that type of Brahmin, but if Brahmin who is following Sadachar, you can take from him, because from hereditary they have that teaching, what can be offered to Supreme Lord and what cannot be. So there is no onion and garlic and these all prohibited substances. They are worshipping Shalagram, and you can take from Brahmin. Maybe he is not Vaishnava initiated in some this, but hereditary Brahmin and following Sadachar, proper behavior, you can take. Otherwise, only from Vaishnavas. Otherwise, there is chance that some other improper things may be inside, and also that consciousness of materialistic people that will pollute your mind. And with that polluted mind, with so many other desires, then you cannot think of Krishna. So food is very important about diet. Both Harinam is medicine and diet should be prasad. Both you have to take, like with doctor, otherwise you cannot be cured. So this we have to be careful about food. But also if there is some initiated Vaishnava, but he is not following properly the practices and he deviated and like this, then also you may not take. At Vrindavan, the Lord took bath in 24 important bathing places and ghats. He traveled to all the 12 important bons, means forests. In these forests, all the cows and birds welcomed him as if he were their very old friend. The Lord also began to embrace all the trees of those forests, and by doing so, he felt the symptoms of transcendental ecstasy. Sometimes he fell unconscious, but he was made to regain consciousness by the chanting of the holy name of Krishna. The transcendental symptoms that were visible on the body of the Lord during his travel within the forest of Vrindavan were all unique and inexplicable, and we have just given a synopsis only. Some of the important places that were visited by the Lord in Vrindavan were Kamyavan, Adishwar, Pavan Sarovar, Kadiravan, Sheshashwai. Sheshashwai. What is the meaning? One who is lying on Shesh, like Karanabdishai. One who is lying on Karana Abdi, the causal ocean. So Shesh, you know, that snake servant, Vishnu lies on him, so that is called Sheshashai. Vishnu, who is lying on Shesha, is Shesha. Kela Tirtha, Bandiravan, Badravan, Shribon, Louhavan, Mahavan, Gokul, Kaliya Hrad, lake of Kaliya. Dvadash Aditya, that is Madan Mohan temple, you go little up more on the stairs. After Krishna subdued Kaliya, there was a long time in the water, he was feeling shivering. Then he went on that hill to take sun. So all the 12 sons of all the 12 months presiding deities, they came to give heat to him. Dvadash Aditya, 12 sons, and Krishna was very, he was heated, and there is some perspiration came from his forearm, and that also one lake became of that. 12 months, 12 presiding sons. Our Srila Bharati Maharaj used to tell us the names. He opened one notebook, and there it was written. Brahmins, they know this. And on the extra month, Purushottam month, every almost 3 years, there is extra month. So the sun in that extra month is Krishna himself, Purushottam, sun. And there is one temple in, I think, Kashmir, which is devoted to this sun, who is Krishna himself, Purushottam, and you have to bow down with him with that Vishnu mantra, not for the sun. And you also know in Surja Kunda, in north of Radha Kunda, where Radharani is doing Surja Puja in noontime. There also Krishna becomes the sun god, because Radharani will not worship anyone else. So Krishna in the form of Surja Dev, he is there. Now Srila Bhakti Kumachanta Gosai Maharaj's disciples, they are taking care of that temple. It's very old, Surja Dev, Krishna himself, on the bank of Surja Kunda. Dvadash Aditya, Keshi Tirtha, where Krishna killed Keshi demon, horse demon. Keshi Ghat. Rupa Goswami said, you should not go to Vrindavan. If you want to amuse yourself with your worldly friends, then don't go to Vrindavan. And if you go to Vrindavan, then don't go to Keshi Ghat or Keshi Tirtha. Don't go there. And if you go to Keshi Tirtha, then don't look at Govinda with his three bended form with flute and peacock feather and very beautiful and curved. Don't look at him. If you look at him, then all your material life will be finished. So don't go there. He saw the place where the rasa dance took place. He at once fell down in trance. As long as he remained in Vrindavan, he made his headquarters at Akrur Ghat. That is another side of Vrindavan. From Mathura, if you go in the beginning side, and Jamuna is that side, north or west, no, east. So our Gurudev explained, if you go to Keshi Tirtha and if you see Govinda standing there, then everything will be finished, all your material life. So Rupa Goswami indirectly he is encouraging by saying in this way, don't go. And Gurudev said, once you see Govinda, you get his darshan, then he will remain in your heart because he is crooked in three places, three bended form. If Narayan will enter, he's straight, then somehow you can take him out also from the heart. But if Krishna enters, then you cannot take him out anymore because like this, crooked. So it is very dangerous to go to Keshi Tirtha and get darshan of Govinda. If you want to continue with your material relations, friends, life, all these things, then don't go there. In Vrindavan, his personal servitor Krishna Das Bibra induced him to go back to Prayag to take bath during the Magh Mela. The Lord acceded to this proposal and they started for Prayag. The actual reason was that Mahaprabhu was so much in ecstasy there in Vrindavan that it was very difficult to manage him. And all the time he was in that. So somehow on the pretext that he should take that bath, it is very auspicious bath, then Mahaprabhu said, okay, I will go. The point is they had to bring him back to Puri somehow. On the way, they met with some Pathans, amongst whom there was a learned Maulana. The Lord had some talks with the Maulana and his companions, and the Lord convinced the Maulana that in the Quran also there are descriptions of Bhagavad Dharma and Krishna. All the Pathans were converted to his cult of devotional service. We were reading this in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Mahaprabhu was always in ecstasy, so he fell down unconscious. Then these Muslims, they thought that other companions, they poisoned or put something in him, that sannyasi, to rob him. So they wanted to arrest, and that thing was there. Then finally Mahaprabhu came to external consciousness and said, no, I am having some disease, that epilepsy disease I am having, so sometimes I fall unconscious, so you don't mind. No, they did not rob me, they are my persons. Then they were attracted by Mahaprabhu, and also they spoke Quran. Mahaprabhu showed them inside Quran. He can extract from there also. He showed about pure devotion, that Krishna is not, that Supreme is not impersonal, and that love of him is the ultimate goal. Everything he showed. Then they also became Vaishnavas. They are called Patan Vaishnavas. Our Gurudev also wrote biography there in the Associates. When he returned to Prayag, Srila Rupa Goswami and his youngest brother met him near Bindu Madhav temple. This time the Lord was welcomed by the people of Prayag more respectfully. Ballabhata, who resided on the other bank of Prayag in the village of Araila, was to receive him at his place, but while going there, the Lord jumped in the river Jamuna. With great difficulty, he was picked up in an unconscious state. Finally, he visited the headquarters of Ballabhata. This Ballabhata was one of his chief admirers, but later on he inaugurated his own party, the Ballabh Sampradaya, that belongs to Vishnu Sami Sampradaya. On the banks of the Dashashwamedha Ghat at Prayag, for 10 days continually, the Lord instructed Rupa Goswami in the science of devotional service to the Lord. Our Srila Bharati Maharaj explained Dashashwamedha Ghat. Ashwamedha means horse sacrifice. Dash means 10. Dash the place. And he said because, and also for 10 days, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught Rupa Goswami about Abhideya Tattva. Sambandha to Sanatana Goswami also Abhideya Prayojana, but more elaborately Abhideya to Rupa Goswami. So he said, it is stated in Shastra that horses represent the senses in that description of the chariot. Intelligence, driver, reins, horses. So horses. So how to engage all the senses, 5 Gyanendriya, 5 Karmendriya, that working senses or a sense of action and knowledge acquiring senses, to worship Govinda. Rupa Goswami installed Radha Govinda. Govinda means go, means senses, and cows and many meanings. So one meaning is go, senses. So we have to engage all the senses in the service of Govinda, who is satisfying the senses. So these 10 senses in Abhideya, we have to sacrifice, offer for the service of Krishna. These horses, senses, that is Dashashwamedha Ghat. Because Rupa Goswami, he defined Kriti Sadhya Bhavet Sadhya Sasadana Vida. No, Kriti Sadhya Bhavet Sadhya Bhava Sasadana Vida. Nitya Siddhasya Bhavasya Prakatam Hridi Sadhyata. When you engage all the senses under the guidance of pure devotee, with the aim to attain Bhava Bhakti, means love of Krishna, that is called Sadhana Bhakti. That Sadhana Bhakti will manifest eternally existing pure devotion in your heart, will manifest there in purified heart. So, science of devotional service to the Lord. He taught the Goswami the divisions of the living creatures in 8,400,000 species of life. Then he taught him about the human species. Out of them he discussed the followers of the Vedic principles out of them the fruitive workers, out of them the empiric philosophers, and out of them the liberated souls. He said that there are only a few who are actually pure devotees of Lord Shri Krishna. This topic of Rupa Shiksha, Srila Bhakti Rakshidhar Dev Gosai Maharaj said, this is the death blow to Sahajas. Death blow means fatal blow. If you blow, they will die, or knockout punch, like death blow to Sahajas. Why? Because Mahaprabhu here showed that devotional creeper will gradually grow through all these different stages, and ultimately it can reach Golok Vrindavan. But Sahajas, they don't care anything about this. They think immediately we can jump to Goloka. You will get, you are this gopi, you are this, then you are like that. You are already in Goloka, you are doing. That is not possible. Gradually you can, they don't care about any rules and regulations, purity, this, that, and anarthas, apara, all that. No, they just think, no, we are gopi and we need not do anything, follow anything. It is not happening like that. Here, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed to Rupa Goswami that there is a gradual procedure. You have to cross all those planes of consciousness on your way to attain the service of Krishna in Goloka, Vrindavan. So tomorrow we will hear further of this Gaur Lila in introduction.